my power. Yes, afraid to lose each other. Counting the hours till I see you again. Could you be life, lover, and best friend? Waiting for text back, wondering where you at, or who could you be?
is now on Roku TV under BS3 TV. Download today. BS3 Network. Changing the way you watch TV. BS3 Network. Changing the way you watch TV.
What's up? What's up, everybody? This is Information Man. Thank you for being here. I hope folks will come on in as the show goes on. I'm not very surprised by the numbers right now because this is a topic that we sometimes don't want to deal with, right? It's not a sexy topic. It's not about a celebrity or an athlete or who's sleeping with who. It's the real reality that we must deal with in the real world. And I think that people usually like the other type of content because you can escape from your problems and look at other people's problems instead of examining the problems that you may have or we may have in our communities or in our family. These things go on. So today I'm going to dispel a few things and then reinforce that which is facts. Today will be educational. It will be statistical. You will learn some things that maybe you did not recognize or know. This may just reinforce what you already know to remind you that we have some issues. I've done videos in the past. It's on this channel right now where I talked about the mortality rates, the survival rates of Black people versus when we have a, how can I say it? Versus when we have a white doctor versus when we have a Black doctor. You see, it has been proven statistically. So this isn't something where we're making up the stories as we go along. It has been proven statistically that when you have a competent Black physician, whether it be a Black female doctor, male doctor, whether they've gone to a big Ivy League school or HBCU school or a PWI school, that if you have a competent Black doctor, when it comes to surgeries and various medical cares, in particular, as it comes to raising or giving birth to a child. And I'm going to put this up because I love this right here with the Black man with his child right here, holding his child. And I'm going to tell you the story about this particular family, this brother holding a baby, because the fact that we stand a higher chance of surviving in our birth rates when we have Black doctors and practitioners taking care of us, as I said before, than our whiter counterparts, because when Black people are being taken care of by white doctors who are not competent, who have stereotypes, who have racial bias, who deal with us differently, it really affects the mortality rates for Black babies. The mortality rates for Black babies have been cut dramatically when Black doctors care for them after birth. Research has proven that out, and you're going to get a dose of that today, whether you like it or not.
Tell the truth.
These are the real issues, folks, not the Black man and Black woman war of the sexes. That is not the real issue. The real issue is that our children, if we want to build a family and we want to survive, as a community, then we have to take into consideration what type of doctor we have, how competent they are, whether black or white, but particularly our black babies stand a better chance when they have complications at birth, when they are dealing with a black doctor, statistically speaking, because there's a cultural understanding that a black doctor may have if they are on that level. There's an understanding that they have for our community when dealing with us, the sensitivity that they understand to our community, because historically, black people in America have never been that trusting of the medical establishment, which has been used against us to experiment on us horrifically, such as the Tuskegee experiment. There were experiments in North Carolina in the early 1940s, 50s, in which they purposely sterilized young child-rearing years, that black girls were in their child-rearing years or potential to have a family. They would do experiments and they sterilized them. For some of you on the YouTube streets, you may say, well, the reason why you want to talk about black babies not making it, newborn black babies not making it, because somehow white doctors, when dealing with our children and their complications, don't give them the best care. You might say, well, wait a minute, info man, what about the abortion situation? Don't black women abort their kids more than any other group? Let's go into that right now, because that's the area that everybody on YouTube likes to bump their gums on. Now, I'm going to put this up. This is going to tie into the situation that we need to recognize when it comes to black babies, because we first go to the abortion. African Americans or black Americans, abortion. Black American women have 27.6% of all abortions in 2014, should I say, but make up less than 14.9% of the female population of the United States. In 2014, this was, okay? However, there are several factors that lead to these statistics, and we are going to take a close look at 4 of them. Now, this is an area that I want you all to realize, because I know a lot of people, when they get on panels, they like to bump their gums about the statistics around black women aborting their kids. And I know that there were people that were happy about the Wade versus Roe versus Wade being stripped down and saying, okay, now black women can't abort there's other things we need to be worrying about. Children, black children in the black community not living to term is not only tied to abortions.
Tell the truth.
Because let me let you know this right now. Do you all know in the chat room, those that are listening, are you aware? Today, ladies and gentlemen, as much as I want to shout people out, we got great folks coming in, MZ, Kim, Bling Bar, and more, Alicia. As much as I want to shout people out, today I have to stick to the program here. That is the lesson plan of class today. That is, I have so much information to provide you today, but I appreciate everyone coming in. Information man, good evening, information man, and great topic. This is a much needed discussion. Thank you, my sister. Let me put you on the board here. Y'all know I'm bad with names, but I recognize you. Embrace the grace. Thank you for coming over as well. We appreciate you. Oh, I've got to fix something now. Let me fix something. I've got to fix something, y'all. I thought I had this set up right. Give me 1 minute to fix something in my let's get this. This is what happens when you go live and then something is not set up the way you want it. Boom. Now it is. No. Don't want that turned off. And then let me go into, give me 1 minute, folks. I've got to fix something real quick. Why I fix this little issue, here we go with a little bit of music for your listening pleasure.
You know the songs and they chant them. The vision
Give me
turned
1
into
minute.
fruition. I'm
Thank
really
you.
liking how it's panning. They call me collector, you thought I planned it. Shipping crazy, then it fell into place. Now everything's stable. I'm all in on the table. You selling that fable, we know that it's made up. We know what you made of. I do better offline, yeah. I've been calling to a God. I'm in tune with the science. I'm just trying to let go. I'm just trying to be me. I'm just trying to do fine. Moon landed with the elevation. Armstrong with the levitation. My third eye needed calibration. I was heat rock when I notated. I've been going crazy. Stone face when I kill beat, leaving no trace on
Alrighty.
location. Premeditated. Hey, can't even be stiff for like more than a minute. The way that
All righty. So what I wanted to say is that in all of these different states, do your research, folks. Let me, damn, I got something wrong. What's going on? Identity withheld. And let me put the good sister up here. Boom, there she is. What's good, sister? Thank you. I appreciate you coming over. And I appreciate the kind words that you just said in Embrace the Grace. I see you in there. I see Alicia. I see Old Reliable. Jill's Chocolate Boutique. Identity Withheld. Good to see you here. Tiffany Jackson. Elevate Minds. Healer. I'm glad to see everybody come over. And I assure you, you will not regret coming over to this stream today. We got Eye of the Watcher. Lisa says, what? And let me see this here. Good sister says here. Let me see. Astro Projector. How is the pending BS when black folks in the United States are facing health disparities throughout the healthcare system? That's right. We are. And researchers do admit that these numbers might be flawed. See, a lot of times we get on panels and we say, oh, you know, black women are leading and all this. There's a lot of other factors for why this is a situation. Now, they wrote this. They wrote in a report that most states don't have abortion rate data based on race, okay, citing that only 27 states offer information on black teen when it comes to black teens that are having unwanted pregnancies. Okay, now that happened. That was big in the 80s. Those of you who have lived around for a while, you know that we had a big problem with teen pregnancy for whatever the reasons are, social, political, economic, I would say, that was impacting black youth, especially in the I would say in the early 80s into the late 90s. But let me go into this area right here. I just wanted to bring this up. This is from, check this out, y'all. This is from Black Demographics. A lot of y'all like to use Black Demographics, especially when you want to back up a point here. According to Black Demographics, African-American women or black women in America have the most abortions. Do African-American women have the most abortions? Now you see on the graph, 27.6% versus white women at 38.7%. Latinos, La Raza, Hispanics are at 24.8%, or indigenous people at 24.8%. And when it comes to the abortion, it says here, white women have the most abortions of any race, ethnic group, but black women are overwhelmingly representing the makeup of 27.6% of all abortions, while only comparison to 14.9% of all women in the national, giving them the highest abortion rates in the United States. So there's a disproportionate reasons. What are the disproportionate reasons? Before I get to the main topic of today, I have to bring this up because as we focus on the issue of abortion, it says here, women who had unintended pregnancies. They got black women at 50%, but they got other range of women between 36% and 40%. Using contraceptives, using condoms or things to prevent birth. Black women are at 83% when it comes to trying to, when not using condoms or certain things. But white women are actually at higher percentage than you. They're at 91%. Hispanics at 91%. Asians at 90%. At risk, but using, at risk. So 83% of black women are using. Everyone else is at 91%. I want to read that graph properly. So 83% of black women are being responsible with using something when having sex to prevent childbirth. Every other group is within the 90 percentile. So that's that's the graphic that came out of black demographics. Let me put this up here, right here. 85% of women having abortions were not married, 70%. So there's something to being married. National, all women 15 and up who are not married. Okay, women with family income less than 100%, the federal poverty level accounted for just about half. So it's already a known fact that if you have a low socioeconomic background, if you're not as educated, if you may not have a college education or some type of training, that you are more susceptible to maybe having unwanted pregnancies. Now that's across the board, okay? But as we focus on the abortion issue, and as we have people who say, okay, I'm glad that they're gonna put an end to abortion, because I've heard a lot of brothers on YouTube say, hey, we don't want to see black babies being aborted. But there's a whole kind of reasons why a child could be aborted. There could be someone that did sexual abuse to that woman. There could be a birth situation that can cause these things to happen. Let me put this up here, okay? Just so you all know, there's actually been a decline in abortion. The total number of abortions providers has declined dramatically since the 1980s. In 1982, according to the Gutter Machine, there were 2,908 facilities providing abortions in the United States, including 789 clinics, 1,405 hospitals, and 714 physicians' offices, okay? It's actually gone down, y'all. It's steadily going down. CDC says that 2021, there were 11.6 abortions in the United States per 1,000 women aged 15 to 44, okay? Throughout the country, Maryland, New Hampshire, New Jersey. So it's gone down considerably, suggesting that the general decline in abortion rates over time in the 1980s, when the CDC reported on all 50 states, DC, it said that there were 25 abortions per 1,000 women aged 15 to 44. Okay? So now when you say, hey, black babies are being aborted, actually it's going down. So when people are on a panel talking about this, you really need to get your facts together, because yes, there are high abortions within the black community. However, as the years have gone on, there are less abortions happening. It's declining. It's going down. And it was going down before some of you Donald Trumpers and all you other folks out there, before you start saying, well, it's because the Republicans, made it illegal for you to have an abortion. It was going down and declining way before what took place not too long ago, when the Republicans decided to break through, or not the Republicans, with the help of this Supreme Court that ain't really that supreme. Before the Supreme Court did what they did, it was already declining. So black babies, for the purpose of this video today, weren't dying as a result of just black women aborting the babies. And you got to take into account why were babies being aborted. It wasn't all because, black women just woke up and said, I want to abort the child. It was a whole facet of social economic reasons, health reasons, a whole bunch of stuff, which I'm going to play video for you. See, when we talk about these issues, it's best for you to do research and know what you're talking about before you might make a fool of yourself saying things that you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, there's a problem with abortion. Yes, we don't want our women aborting children, but we need to understand within those numbers, why are black women, young black women between that age, why would they do it? There's other reasons. Black women in general just don't abort children because they wake up one day and say, I want to abort the children. It's the nonsense that goes on social media with the Cynthia G's of the world, telling black women on air, online, on social media to abort black babies. That's dangerous. But that ain't why black babies are being aborted. The truth of the matter, because black women don't want to have black babies. They're being aborted for medical reasons, health reasons. Maybe the woman or a young girl was molested. See, you gotta take all the different. It's called variables. There's various variables for why a woman will go to the extreme of having the abortion. Another reason, let me put up another graph for you up here. You'll understand that there's other dynamics that are causing black babies to not live to term that gets back to the whole issue I said before about the white doctor and the black doctor. You see, once again, you stand a larger chance of living under the care of a black doctor who's competent than you would under an incompetent white doctor who brings maybe some biases. There could be some racial things going on in the medical industry, and you're going to find out about that today. Oh, I'm the information man. You're going to get the damn information. That's right.
The truth.
The vast majority, as I said right now, this is from Pew Research Center. The vast majority of women who had abortions in 2021 were unmarried, 87%, while married women accounted for 13%, according to the CDC, which had data on this from 37 states. And remember, not all the states give up this kind of data. So it's pretty obvious that women that are married, a more stable situation, don't engage in abortions versus women who are unmarried and maybe have an unstable economic background. Let me show you another portion of abortions. It's a small number, but it does play a role in this situation when it comes to black babies not living to term or not making it to term. And here is one right here. About 2% of all abortions in the United States involve some type of complication for the woman, according to an article in the State Pew on an online healthcare resource. This is State Pearl's online healthcare resource. Most complications are considered minor, such as a pain, bleeding, infection, and post. Okay, complications. So post when a woman goes through her post, her hormones are off balance. It could cause complications, according to article which I got this from. This is a health article that I got this from. I just want to put that up there right now. So there are situations where black women have had abortions due to health-related issues, and then there are black women who have had have lost the baby during childbirth, in which they have a doctor who is unsensitive to their situation. One of the main things is pain. The medical establishment, and I've done videos on this, believes that black people have a higher threshold for pain. For pain. How many of you realize that? If you realize what I'm saying, put sevens in the chat room, that there is a notion out there that black women and black men, that we have a higher threshold for pain. Remember the doctor during the COVID situation. She was a doctor. She put everything on Facebook, and she was in a hospital, and she was a physician herself. And she kept telling the doctors that she was still in pain, that she needed more pain medications because what they were giving her wasn't working. They didn't believe her. And she went online and did a video that went straight to Facebook and said, I think they're trying to kill me in here. I'm a physician. I know what I'm talking about. And that woman died. She died of pain. They're going to tell you that it was COVID. No, she died of medical practice. That's what she died of. And we know that there's medical racism. There's a book called, what is that? I think the sister name is Washington, last name. I talked about that on this channel. It's called Medical Apartheid. Check that book out. Medical Apartheid. Look that up on your Google. She talks about the horrific incidents that have happened. Everybody talked about the COVID situation. Everyone wants to talk about the abortions. We got brothers and sisters that get on the YouTube streets and get into debates about this issue and say, well, y'all aborting babies. But you never talk about the fact that you probably have more doctors, allegedly, there are more black people dying of mild medical practice. There are more babies that are losing their life when black women are trying to have the baby. When black women are trying to give birth to the baby, trying to have the baby doesn't make it because they're in the wrong hands of a very biased, racist, unsympathetic, no medical establishment that has no respect for us as patients. Let me put this up here and let you see something here. When we talk about the infant mortality rate, because as much as we want to get into what I just got into earlier about, the abortion issue, that's the big issue. No, the big issue is how there is medical malpractice against black people, our children, black men and women. Infant mortality is defined as death during the first year of life. 66% of those deaths for all races occur during the prenatal period, in the first 28 days of life. The first 14% within the first hour, and another 26% within 1 to 23 hours. So when you're giving birth, the first 28 days of life of that child is highly important. Within 14% within the first hour, and another 26% within 1 to 23 hours. We're talking about mortality rates. Check this out for black babies. This is for black women when they're trying to give birth to black children. As we get up here and we keep talking about black women are aborting all black kids, and you're not even looking at the black women that have died in childbirth trying to give birth to a black child, or the black child doesn't make it because of medical practice. In 2021, the maternal mortality rate, mortality rate for non-Hispanic black women was 69.9 deaths per 100,000 live births. So that's the highest, y'all. So don't give me this crap about, well, black women are aborting all black. No, a lot of black women are trying to give birth to black children and they're dying within the process. The mortality rate for black women within childbirth, dealing with this medical malpractice establishment by the usual suspects, when it's already been proven statistically that you stand a better chance when under the care of a black doctor with a smile like that. $69.9 deaths per 100,000 live births, 2.6 times the rate for non-Hispanic white women. This came out in March 16, 2023. This study came from a 2021 study. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? If you're hearing what I'm saying, put sevens in the chat room. I know this is not a fun stream today. It's not a sexy stream because it's information that is, I got to be honest, it's depressing information, but it's information that we need to recognize. That when we get on the YouTube streets and we put out these things about, well, black women are aborting more children. Yes, there have been black women that are aborting more children, but a lot of y'all like to run to the black demographics, which is already saying that in general, white women have more abortions than any race. It's just that black women are overly represented due to more social reasons, economic reasons. Poor decisions, of course, reasons. And in some cases, when we throw out that black women are aborting babies, we can't just say it straight up like, oh, it represents all black women, because not all black women are doing it. The women who are engaging, when they do engage in saying, I want an abortion, these are women that are usually young, unmarried, uneducated, poor resources, not good prospects or opportunities that are engaging in this. When it happens, I said again, the abortion rates were declining and going down. That means they're going down for all groups of people. But what's been climbing up and nobody's paying attention to it as you wax poetically about, well, you know, black women abort the babies. White women are aborting babies too. Why you think they passed this law? Why you think they wanted to get rid of abortion? It wasn't because they cared about saving the black babies of black women. They don't want white women aborting babies. White men want to control the birth and they want to control the bodies of white women. Because white people, and I've done this story, I've done this video too, white people birth rates are going down. They have dipped in their birth rates while everyone else's birth rates are going up. So they're having a hard time reproducing themselves in the population. They've gone down. So why the hell would you think that they did that? Only because we want to help the black man out. We want to help the black community out from aborting their kids when they don't give a damn about us aborting kids. Because why you think that they care about stopping black women from aborting babies? Why you look, see, it's called playing a card trick on you. It's like a musician. I'm gonna look at my hands. Why I make you look one way, I'm doing something else here. So why you thinking that, oh, they stopped the Republicans, the white Republicans, the Republican clan, they stopped the abortion situation. So you think that's good. It's going to stop black women from aborting babies. While you're looking at that, they're they're taking the lives of black babies. They're deleting black babies in the hospital with the mild medical practice. And black women are not making it sometimes through the childbirth. Nobody's looking at that because you've been bamboozled with the other issue. You've had more black people's lives deleted by the medical establishment in their medical management. Again, black women were 69.9 deaths per 100,000 live births, 2.6 times the rate for non-Hispanic or in compared to white women. This was just in 2021. It ain't changed. It ain't changed. Let me give you a story right here. This was in the, if you're with me, everybody, put those sevens in the chat room, because let me show you something right here. This was in the AP. This was an AP story. Chapter 1, why do so many black women die in pregnancy? One reason, doctors don't take them seriously. Remember I told you about the doctor who they said died of the COVID. She was asking for more pain medications. And you got the black babies that are not making it to term in these cases too. This was an AP story. Let me just give you a little piece of this story right here. Even more disheartening, Angelica worked at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, the university affiliated with the hospital that treated her. Her experience is a reflection of the medical racism, bias, right? Inattentive care, lack of proper care that black Americans endure. Black women have the highest maternity rates in the United States. As I read before, it's 69.9 per 100,000 live births in 2021, almost 3 times the rate of white women, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. So if you want to look those up yourself to check what I'm telling you, this is coming straight out of the Center for the Disease Control, CDC, located in Atlanta, I believe Atlanta, Georgia, or in Georgia, the state of Georgia. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, there was an article that came out in CNN. I looked through the article. I clipped some of this article. Very powerful article. And here we go. Black newborns are likely to die when looked over by white doctors. It's a very serious issue. I'm not smiling. I'm not laughing. This is a very serious issue, y'all. If you're hearing what I'm saying, if you're with me, hit those sevens in the chat room. We got the faith factor over here today. We got the hood conservative. You can't believe the propaganda. This is not propaganda, because more black women and black people are being destroyed in the medical establishment. You see, let me show you something right here. See, hood conservative, you're saying that I'm putting out propaganda, but see, I can back up everything I'm telling you with legitimate sources. See, according to, if that's what you're saying, according to black patients are 42% more likely to die after high-risk surgeries than white patients. This was according to U.S. News. On Monday, October 16, 2023, a high-risk surgery are more deadly for black and Hispanic Americans than for their white counterparts. New research revealed that the study of more than 1 million procedures performed in the United States hospitals between 2000 and 2020 found that black patients were 42% more likely than white patients to die within 30 days of surgery. That risk was 21% higher among Hispanic patients. It had those disparities not exist. Researchers estimate that over 12,000 lives could have been saved if they could have recognized this sooner. So I'm going to go back to my previous statement, because I'm pretty sure that's what got you triggered, if it did. The issue around the abortion. Now, I went over the statistics already. I use what you Negroes use all the time, which is the black geographics. I already said that in black demographics, that they still say that black women lead disproportionately in the issues of abortion. All right, let me put it back up here. This is the stuff that y'all like to use all the time. Says here, do African American women have the most abortions? White women have the most abortions of any race, ethnic group, but black women are overrepresented, making up 27.6% of all abortions, while only comprising 14.9% of the population of all the women in the nation, giving them the highest abortion rates. And I just stood up here and said, there's a lot of reasons why I said there could be bad decision making. There are economic reasons. There are women that have had someone molest them. I also said there's a 2% of women who abort because there's a bad medical practice by the doctor trying to deliver the baby. So when you talk about why someone is doing something that you don't agree with or that you don't like, you can't make a blatant statement and just say, well, black women abort black babies without taking into consideration, or at least taking into the overall factors that are leading to women, not just black women, but any women, to aborting their kids. But while black women have aborted children, there are also black women that are dying in the process of trying to give birth to black children, and nobody talks about that. Nobody's talking about how the medical establishment is deleting through medical malpractice black babies. How about you talk about that? 69.9%. That's pretty serious. That's very serious. So this ain't no propaganda. This is facts. And if you can't handle the data, get your ass out of here. Because I'll debate you anywhere, sucker. You're one of those suckers that like to hide behind your avatar and never show yourself. I show myself. You don't. And I got no respect for people who want to come into the chat room, call something propaganda, but your ass don't never show yourself when you get up on YouTube on these funky panels that you set on for 3 and 4 hours. Probably don't show yourself because you probably look like a damn monster. Now, if you want to debate anything with me, anytime, I'll destroy you. Because I don't get up here just talking on my channel. I back it up with facts. So let's move on. Because little people can't handle true information that's data driven and research proven. Now, are black babies more likely to survive with black doctors? Although black newborns are 3 times likely to die as white newborns, when doctors of record for black newborns, primarily pediatricians and family practitioners were also black. So if the pediatrician is black, your family practitioner is black, or your family nurse is black, there's a stronger chance that your child, if your child is a black child, and that individual has a certain respect for the culture, a certain respect for you, without the racial bias involved in it, the child has a better chance. Compared with white newborns, it was cut in half when it came to their survival. So the medical establishment has always, you don't see these rates in white babies. You don't see this in white babies. And this goes across economics. So you can't say, well, it's because these are poor black women who don't know how to take care of themselves. It happens to black women and black families across the board, no matter whether they come from middle class, they're poor, they're rich. When dealing with the medical establishment, these things have happened. It has been recorded. Let's put this up right here. This is all research. CNN did this story and did the research on this. Black newborn babies in the United States are more likely to survive childbirth if they are cared for by black doctors. I talked about that as well. Black doctors are very important. And the majority of our black doctors, I think black doctors make up about, it was 6%. I think it's between 6% and 7% of the physicians in this country are black doctors. Okay. And the majority of our black doctors come from not PWIs. The majority of them are learning medicine and getting there and moving through the system, matriculating through the system. They're getting their education through HBCUs. So the majority of our black professionals have gone to historical black colleges. Say what you want to say. You can make all the laugh about black colleges, but they have and still produce the majority of our black professionals and a majority of our black physicians, particularly our black women and black men. A lot of black women are going to historical black colleges and getting a degree and pursuing medicine, and as well as black men. Okay, that's where they're coming from. And this is why we need to have more than 7% within the medical establishment in this country, because there's a lot of medical practice, which is not only taking our babies out of here, but it's taking black man out of here, it's taking black woman out of here. Let's go back in here again. The mortality rate of black newborns in hospitals shrunk by between 39% and 58% when black physicians took charge of the birth. I'm going to say this again for the person who says this is propaganda. The individual who doesn't show himself on YouTube hiding behind avatars and goofy names like it makes me laugh. I'm gonna say it again. The mortality rate of black newborns in hospitals shrunk by between 39% and 58% when black physicians took charge of the birth, according to the research, which bare how shocking racial disparities in human health can affect even the first hour of a person's life. And I said that before. Whatever the doctors don't do within those first hours can be the difference in how your child, if your child makes it, it could also contribute maybe to your child having a birth defect or some kind of condition. If that physician is not competent and knows what he's doing. The studies have shown that when you have a black doctor in the picture, that your child or you as the male adult, the adult woman, as a black person, you can survive a lot higher with dealing with a black competent doctor. This has all been proven out through studies and research. I'm not making any of this up. Let's go over to here. Research from George Mason University. You see, everybody, you have a lot of people on YouTube who talk about stuff, but they never show you their sources. They never give you data. They never really can validate what they're talking about. This study that I'm reading from came from George Mason University. They did an analysis, a data analysis, capturing 1.8 million hospital births in Florida between 1992 and 2015 for the new study, which was published Monday in a journal, the processing of the National Academy of Science of the United States of America, also known as PNAS. When cared for by a white physician, black newborns were about 3 times more likely to die in the hospital. This is based on research, nothing I made up. More likely to die in the hospital than white newborns. The research found that disparity dropped significantly when the doctor was black. You see what I'm saying? When the doctor is black, the newborns nevertheless remain more likely than the white newborn to die. So this is why we need to encourage anybody in our community that is trying to become a doctor, who is trying to go to medical school, who wants to give back to their community, who wants to be a physician, especially a pediatrician. Says here, our study provides the first evidence that the black-white newborn mortality gap is smaller when black MDs provide care for black newborns than when white MDs do, leading support to research examining the importance of racial concordance in the addressing of healthcare inequalities. Co-authored, Hartman said on a Twitter feed that black babies have been dying at disproportionate rates since as long as we've been collecting data. The time is now to change this and to assure that black infants are afforded the opportunity to thrive. It is already known that black infants have 2.3 times the infant mortality rate as white infants, according to the United States Department of Health and Human Services Office of Mortality Health. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the Black Doctor again. Ladies and gentlemen, everything that I'm talking about is backed up by hardcore research. The CDC. You got various medical establishments who have been looking at this data. So this ain't no propaganda. It's important to have competent black doctors in your life, because our babies are our most precious resource. And while we can look at the abortion rates and be like, man, it's terrible. You know, we've had black babies that have been aborted, but there's all kind of other reasons that could be happening as well. While we're looking at that issue, we still have a lot of black babies that are not making it because of medical malpractice. And you have 69.9% of black women trying to give birth to black babies in which something goes wrong in the medical malpractice of how that black woman is treated during birth. Anybody who doesn't understand that and comes over here and says that it's propaganda, you need to have your head examined. But that's the kind of dummies we have on YouTube who hide behind avatars, never showing themselves. See, I can show myself because I can stand by what I'm saying as a man. I can look you straight in the eye in this camera because I'm not hiding from nobody. And I don't have to spend all of my time on my channel crying about women 24 hours a damn day, because I'm already winning. I'm already winning. I don't have to cry about, I want women to give me cooperation. The only men who cry about that are the men who don't get it because they ain't got the skills, they ain't got the ability, and they're crying about because they can't get the women that they really want. I feel sorry for you. Those of us that win, we talk about other damn things. And that's just the facts.
Tell the truth.
All right. Moving forward. And once again, black men are great fathers. Don't let nobody tell you that we're not great fathers. We're great fathers, okay? We do a hell of a job. We're working hard. Do we have men out there who ain't doing what they supposed to do? Yeah. But we got brothers that do what they supposed to do too. Let's keep that in mind. So I said this over again. This is part of another study. Care of white physicians, black newborns experience triple the in-hospital mortality rates of white infants. That's terrible. Under the care of white physicians, the white newborn mortality rate is about 290 per 100,000 births. As in, now, as it relates to black newborn mortality, it is established at 800, and this is terrible, y'all, at 894 per 100,000 births. That's a hell of a lot of babies. So while we make our issues out of the fact that we don't want black women aborting babies, I understand that. I think we have dropped the ball at looking at what the medical establishment is doing to our children. Estimated at 894 babies per 100,000 births, y'all. White kids' mortality rate when handled by white physicians is 290 per 100,000, but black children is 894 per 100,000 births. That's a serious problem. The physician black coefficient implies that no significant difference in mortality among white newborn cared for by blacks versus white physicians. So this is the thing, y'all. When black physicians are dealing with white babies, nothing's happening to those white babies. The mortality rates are not spiking up when the white baby is under the care of a black doctor, but they're spiking up when they're under the care of a white doctor. I just read the numbers, the data to you. This is a very serious issue. I'm not laughing about it, okay? Because while we need to pay attention to what's happening on the back end of stuff with our children, man. And I'm not saying that black people don't care about what's happening to our children, but we need to understand what's happening to us. Let me put this up here. A report from the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention, which covered the period between, I read that already. I went over that already. Let me put this up right here. Black newborns are 39% lower under the care of black physicians than white physicians. That is a shame. I've said that. I've emphasized that. This is terrible. This is terrible stuff, but we gotta deal with it. Let me play a video for you because, you know, some of the people, the individual who comes in here talking about some propaganda, you need to go back to school, man. You need to go read some books or do some research. Get your ass off of YouTube because you don't want to show your ugly ass to nobody anyway. You damn troll. And the individual that I'm talking about, they know who they are. Let me show you something. You think that people just making up stuff? You got real doctors in the real world, people that are physicians that are talking about this shit. Check this out. Check out this video, y'all. This is education that we need to be aware of. This is what we need to know. More black people are being exited out of here through this medical malpractice that they've been running on us for years. Check this out.
Black babies are more than twice as likely to die than white babies. That's according to the CDC. We got local numbers from Nurture KC, and they show every week there are a little more than 450 babies born in the metro area.
Now, I just want to preface this. These videos that I'm going to show you are a couple of years old, maybe between 3, but it's still relevant because it was happening then and it's still happening now. So the videos, so we're in 2024. So these videos are still within our range of our decade, right? So these videos are maybe from 2020, maybe 21, about 2-3 years old. So it's still within range. They're not from a whole decade ago. It's within the range of what's happening still right now, just to let you know that right now. Here we go.
Black babies are more than twice as likely to die than white babies. That's according to the CDC. We got local numbers from Nurture KC, and they show every week there are a little more than 450 babies born in the metro area. Out of those, 2 or 3 of those babies will die before they turn 1. 87 will be born early, increasing their risk of health complications. Now, a new study has found the chance of survival nearly triples if a black baby is cared for by a black doctor. KCTV5's Casey Jones is looking into how the disparity may be playing out in our local maternity wards.
Here in Kansas City and in Missouri in general, we have a very high infant mortality rate, especially per capita. Feel like it's been hurting?
Dr. Tracy Johnson is a mother of 3 and board-certified OBGYN at Truman Medical Center. She says while infant mortality rates have declined in recent years, the racial disparities have not. The latest data for the Kansas City metro area shows for every 1,000 black babies born, close to 10 will die before their first birthday. Compare that to white babies. 4 will die.
Did you just hear what she said? See, this, what I was talking about, it ain't no propaganda. You got doctors, you got researchers, you got universities that are looking at this. This is not propaganda. I'm going to say it again. We know that abortion is a big issue within our community, kids that have been aborted, but we also have to recognize the reasons why babies are being aborted or have been aborted in our community. That's a problem that we got to look at. But we're forgetting on the backside of that, the fact that we've got babies being taken out of here when black women are trying to give birth. See, nobody wants to talk about that. And this cuts across the board. If as a black person in America, we are being treated this way as adults, where we're getting medical malpractice put on us. If you're not on top of things, continue.
Every 1,000. And your baby's doctor could make a difference too. A new study published by the National Academy of Sciences pulled data from close to 2 million hospital births in Florida for over 2 decades. The study found that if black babies were cared for by black doctors, they were twice as likely to survive than if cared for by white doctors. Dr. Johnson explains shared race and culture can help doctors recognize subtle cues.
I know in the African American community.
I'm going to get back to that doctor in just a moment. You recognize that they've been doing this study in different parts of the country, and it's all coming back the same. So they've done this in Ohio. They have done this. They have looked at this in all these different states, Georgia, and they're all coming back with the same issue. So it ain't something I'm just making up. Let's get back to the doctor and what she was trying to say. Sorry about that, folks.
The study found that if black babies were cared for by black doctors, they were twice as likely to survive than if cared for by white doctors. Dr. Johnson explains shared race and culture can help doctors recognize subtle cues.
I know in the African American community, I pick up those things a little bit more often, and patients tell me that in their feedback that I do. That may be something that when you have a different ethnic background of the patient, that may be something that you're not able to see, and maybe it does translate over into the care for the infant.
So what can be done to ensure all babies get the same shot at survival? Tracy Russell, executive director of Nurture KC, says expanding Medicaid is a start because it allows better access to health care regardless of income. Missouri voted to expand its Medicaid program last month.
In states that have expanded Medicaid, they have a 50% greater reduction in infant mortality than states that have failed to act.
Russell also believes bias in medical professionals could play a role in disparities.
When you look at racism and how insidious it is, I think what we often lose track of is it's not just blatant displays, but it's that unconscious bias that's at play too.
How often are you having contractions?
As for Dr. Johnson, who is one of less than 10 black OBGYNs in our area, she hopes this new study reveals the need for more culture and diversity training in medicine.
We know for a fact that we're not doing very well when it comes to cultural humility in this country, and we use cultural humility as opposed to cultural competence because no one will ever be competent in someone else's ethnicity or cultural background. So that's something that we need to always do better at. If we're not having the conversation, we're kind of becoming behind.
All right. So there you have a breakdown of an actual doctor. They've done actual studies on this. So this is not propaganda. We have to look at the other factors, variables, as we say in science, that are playing into why black babies are not getting the full term. It ain't just the abortion issue. It's what the establishment is doing to our women when they're actually trying to give birth, and when they give birth to the baby, where things can also go wrong. If nobody can understand that, something's wrong with you. Let me show you. Do I have to show another video to back up? Here comes another video about the racism in hospitals that come out of the mouths of the damn doctors themselves. Check this out, everybody.
A patient room in the hospital only to be asked, where's the real doctor?
I've experienced that many times. Where's the real doctor? I've even had someone refuse my care, and I'd rather not.
Racism and discrimination, a nasty disease even black doctors and white coats can't cure.
What you see coming through the door is the color of our skin, not our bank account, not our degrees.
Dr. Carla and Rob Robinson, both inner city Chicagoans turned Charlotteans, have more than 15 years of medical experience contributing to the small group of black practicing physicians in the country. Black doctors make up less than 6% of practicing doctors in America. That's compared to white doctors who make up 50%.
Now, didn't I say that to you all, that between 6% and 7% that black doctors are that's the population of our black doctors who are mainly educated. A lot of our doctors in this country, black doctors in particular, male or female, have graduated from a historical black college. So that shows you that historical black colleges are still important to our community, while white doctors make up 56%. So they dominate in terms of the physicians that are actually attending to your kids, but our kids are dying in high numbers in terms of the mortality rates when under their care, and the studies have played that, have put that out there. You have too many legitimate medical research establishments that have said this. Let me continue this again. I'm going to let you hear that part again because it needs to be heard.
Black doctors make up less than 6% of practicing doctors in America. That's compared to white doctors who make up 56%.
It's heartbreaking because, as you mentioned, we recognize that black patients tend to do better when treated by someone who looks like them.
Right.
A transparent discussion there with the Robinson. So in the black community, there is a lot of hesitation for people to go and see doctors who do not look like them. They have a high level of concern about their treatment. Are they going to be misdiagnosed? You know, small microaggressions just don't always make black patients feel comfortable. So we're going to talk about that with Dr. Robinson, and we are also going to talk about the benefits of
Now, she did, I think that's in Chicago, the sister right there, the reporter right there, she did a little town hall conversation with them. I didn't get a chance to cut that part, but here you have doctors, physicians themselves saying that they deal with racial bias when people don't believe that they're a doctor. And they also recognize that black people have done historically better when they have black physicians that understand them, understand their language, their culture, that come from where they come from. There's some type of kingship there. That's very important. I think in every culture, they have their own doctors that are caring for their own people, and that's nothing wrong with that. But there's a disparity when you look at how our kids are faring, not our kids, our babies. Our infants are not faring too well, and they've done these type of studies in different states around this country, and they've come up with the same thing again. Here's another video. This is for the people out there this is for the individuals out there who want to say that this is propaganda. Here's some more truth for you.
A new study finds black newborns are more likely to survive childbirth when they are cared for by black doctors. The study, published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, reveals black babies are 3 times more likely than white babies to die in the hospital when they are being cared for by white doctors.
Now, didn't I just say that? But, I'm propaganda. Didn't I say that to everybody in the chat room? Put a 7 in the chat room. Didn't I say that? Haven't I read that 3 times more likely? Isn't that even in the description of my video? 3 times more. Let's get back to it, folks.
Research found there is little difference to the survival rate of a white newborn in connection to the race of the doctor. Dr. Jessica Shepard joins me now. She is an OBGYN at Baylor University Medical Center and women's health expert. Dr. Shepard, welcome. Thank you for being with us. Over the years, we've seen a decline in infant mortality rates across the U.S. However, the disparity between white and black infant mortality rates has continued to grow. Why is that?
You know, that is a great question, which we continue to try to find the answers for. Now, we do know that this rate is significantly higher when we think of mortality rate in 100,000 deaths per year or live births. We see that may affect maybe 7 deaths per year, jumping up to 40 when we think of African American females.
Let me do this. Let me say peace to Jonathan Majors, Omega Dreads Gaming. Thank you for coming through. Alicia, thank you for coming through. Tiffany Jackson, Jill's Chocolate Boutique, thank you for coming through. MZ Kim's Bar and Bling and Bar. I'm going to say it again. I'm not setting up here saying that the abortion situation is not serious, that we do have to somehow we have to somehow get to a point where our women do not have to abort their children, right? But I'm also smart enough to know, or intelligent, or have enough critical thinking skills to know that there's a lot of other variables that go into why women in general make this decision, and specifically for why black women may make these type of decisions too. Even if we don't agree with it. But on the flip side of that situation, that is definitely serious too, we're forgetting the large number. I'm going to repeat this throughout the whole theme of this show. We're forgetting the large number of black women that are actually trying to have birth for our children. I'm talking to the men right now. The large number of women that are trying to have our kids, and the medical establishment is doing them in. Or that our women are not even making it through the childbirth because of some medical malpractice or whatever is going on that's causing it at 69.9%, highest rate than anybody. That tells you there's something serious and that we're not looking at that other side of it as much as we should. And here we go.
And also infants. So that is strikingly different. Now, we know that the reason has a lot to do with...
Right there. Black infants have 2.3 times the infant mortality rate than white infants. Black infants are 3.8 times more likely to die from low birth weight complications than white infants. In 2017, black mothers were 2.3 times more likely than white mothers to receive late or no prenatal care. That's the word I should have said earlier in the stream, the prenatal care situation. Wow. Let's continue.
Structural racism, and also what we see in organizational healthcare is that we are not having the resources or also the alternative treatments for women. When we think of the reasons why these women die, the top 3 are going to be hemorrhage, pulmonary embolism, and hypertension in pregnancy. Now, these are all preventable deaths when we think of the reason and the causes of why these women are dying. So the question is, why is this still happening in a country such as the United States of America?
Mm-hmm.
So this study, of course, also went on to reveal that the infant mortality gap shrinks when infants are cared for by black doctors. Did this surprise you? And what does the reason for this seem to be? Why does it seem as though race plays a part in this, medical procedure?
That is something that reigns true in my heart as a Black OBGYN. One of the things is that representation really does matter. And so when you have these patients who have these paucities depending on if it's financial, depending on if it's living in a food desert, or the access and resources to get them the adequate care that they need during their prenatal time. Sometimes just seeing someone who looks like them, who might understand the difficulties and the struggles that they go through as a pregnant mom. These things do impact prenatal care, and also being able to listen to women when they speak, to listen to women when they have symptoms and when they have difficulties throughout their pregnancy, and how to guide them throughout that and make sure that they're being heard, but also getting the adequate care that they need.
It certainly points to, as you said, the importance of representation. You know, so Dr.
So you see there, ladies and gentlemen, that everything that I said tonight is nothing that I'm making up. It's not propaganda. If you agree, if you're getting something out of this, if the information I'm putting out there is based on facts and you know it because you've also looked at these numbers yourself, or you've done the research, or you've read articles, or you've seen videos on this issue, put sevens in the chat room, because this is not propaganda. This is about the fact that, during the COVID situation, they kept telling us that black people were going to, be deleted because of the COVID. But if you just do some common sense research, the medical establishment is the establishment that's been taking us out of here, and they've been taking us out of here for decades. Remember, how did medicine get its start? Medicine in America was started with white racist doctors who were doing barbarism on black women and black men. They would go into graveyards. I mean, this is not pretty history, but it's the truth. They would go into graveyards and do their anatomy lessons on using our bodies that they have taken out of our graves, or the experiments that they would do on black women and black men. That's how the medical establishment got started in this country. Tell me I'm a lie. I dare anybody.
Tell the truth.
Tell me if I'm telling the truth. Put those sevens in the chat room. The medical establishment in this country was built off the back. Once again, the country was built off of our backs, and the damn medical establishment was built off the backs of experimenting on black slaves and experimenting on black people during Jim Crow in the 50s and 40s, experimenting on black people that were sharecroppers, like the Tuskegee, Alabama experiment, experimenting on black women and sterilizing them so they could not produce because they didn't want us to produce, you see. Everybody should be reading and studying the ISIS papers, remember? We're going to take a little commercial break, and I want you to hear some words from my great brother, George Makem. He has a great organization called Urban Nerds Worldwide, and he wants to bring this organization to your community as well. He's out there in Philadelphia. He has a beautiful website. He's working with youth, STEM, science, the thing that we need. We need more black. He's working with youth that can become black doctors. He's mentoring them. He ain't talking about it. He's doing it. He shows it on his channel. He's well known within the black conscious community. This brother is doing it. And if you donate to his organization by going to the website and buying some merch, the shirts with the logo on it, the hoodies with the logo on it, you buy the merch, whether that merch is $20, $15, whatever, you're going to get a tax write-off because his organization is actually a nonprofit. And this is what George Makem is all about. He has the channel Street Media TV. Here we go.
I'm here in the hood in Southwest Philadelphia, man. We out here trying to save life, save souls. We trying to change the mindset of the youth. We say urban nerds, not urban shooters. We say death to the real nigga. We not talking about killing any niggas. We talking about killing that nigga mind, consciousness in the minds. We say, we lift up our hoodies and we say nerds over niggas. Right? We want to bring black intelligence back to the community, man. We want to raise up our young boys and teach them that they can be something other than being a so-called nigga, man. We want to change the mindset of the youth, man. In every city across America, man, urban nerds is coming, man. A lot of our kids, they jump off the porch early, man. They jump off the porch. These young black boys, they jumping off the porch into an unforgiving world, man. An unforgiving world. And a lot of them is not mentally ready for this culture, this deaf culture that we celebrate in the community that we come from. So we created Urban Nerds to save souls, to save lives, man. And we teach young black boys to go out and start saving the lives of young kids at their age. We want to be a light in a dark room. We want to be a clean glass next to a dirty glass, man. So look for Urban Nerds coming to a city near you. Peace.
All right. There he is. That's George Makem out of Philadelphia. That's my brother. He's got the YouTube channel, Street Media TV. Check him out. He also has the Urban Nerds Worldwide YouTube channel. So check him out. And he actually shows you what he's doing and the difference that he's making. He's also very well known in the Philadelphia area. He's an activist. So all the things that have been happening in Philadelphia, some of the unfortunate things that have happened, he's right out there. He's been involved in protests, trying. When you say, what are black men doing to combat these destructive things that go on? Well, he's one of these brothers that gets his foot to the pavement, and you see him on his channel to deal with these issues. So I support my brother and the Urban Nerds. I support what he's about. I support the organization, and I appreciate all of you all for allowing me. Let me just put this up here, allowing me to play that commercial. There it is. That's the Urban Nerds Worldwide logo. Thank you for letting me play that commercial. We're going to get back on topic because we're almost coming to the end of today's program. I find it interesting that the topic that I'm talking about, which is a very serious topic, we got about 54 people in the chat that are watching. It fluctuated between 54 and 57. I've talked about other hot button issues like P. Diddy and all these other issues, and I can get 100 or whatever many people that come over. I have to say I appreciate everybody that's in that chat room right now and those that are listening in the cloud. But I got to say it is sort of a shame that an issue that you would think would be as serious as what's happening to black babies in the medical malpractice establishment, that you would think that more people would come over and be more interested in knowing about this situation, or at least hearing it, having it reinforced to them. Do your best to share this video if you can. I don't think YouTube is going to push it through the algorithms because I'm not doing the usual thing that they expect from black content creators, which is to keep talking about women and men problems and drama. I'm not talking about the latest pop culture drama that's going on. I'm not talking about how a mega stallion is being sued by someone that worked for her as a cameraman. I'm not doing a story about Tasha K and the whole situation about Kevin Hart and whether he's going to be able to sue her or whether they threw the suit out or whether it stays in. I don't know. If I was doing that, there'd probably be a bunch of folks over here. But for me to be talking about this kind of a sensitive situation, it just tells me that the things that we should be focusing on, that I don't think we either don't care or we don't really, it's not entertaining enough for us. I don't know. But with that said, let me go on to the next thing. This is important that I'm about to bring up. So what's happening is that this is a family right here. This is a midwife. I think her name is Miss Buckner. I'm going to talk about her story. This is a black man holding his baby. And Miss Buckner, I think her name is Buckner, is coming in and providing care and assistance to black women giving birth because what's happening, because this happened primarily during the COVID situation. A lot of black women were not comfortable with going to the hospital or being in a hospital for a long time because of the COVID situation. And so what happened is it spiked up a situation in which you had midwives, and midwives are still important. This is a New York Times article, why black women are rejecting hospitals. See, if this was a joke, what I'm talking about, you wouldn't have this sort of stuff going on out there. Why black women are rejecting hospitals in search of better birth. Some mothers are seeking alternatives worried about the COVID-19 and racial inequality when it comes to their health care. A growing awareness of these disparities, along with the fear of giving birth in a hospital during a pandemic. This is what was happening during the pandemic, and it's still a concern because it was the pandemic and the racial stuff, but the racial stuff hasn't gone away, y'all. Is leading some pregnant Black women to seek out other options. It's one of the reasons Miss Ida, I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly, is deciding to use a birthing center when expecting her second child. So basically what's happening is that they have these birthing centers. How many of you in the chat room, the ladies in particular, are familiar with the birthing centers? And we got my man Yvette Mark gave me a $4 super chat. He says, thank you for always being willing to speak the truth. No matter how sensitive the topic, it takes a special individual to do what you're doing. Hey, thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot, Event Mark. I see you, Event Mark. And then you got 125. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. I appreciate that.
Thank you for the super chat.
I appreciate that. It is a hard topic to talk about. It's not sexy. That's why a lot of people won't come over for this topic, because the topic is real life topic. It hits home. So what's happening is that let me go into this part of the article here. Black mothers in the United States are 4 times as likely to die from mortality related. They're likely to die when they're given birth related to complications as white in comparison to white women. In New Jersey, here's another place. See, this is happening all over the country. It's not just isolated to one place, everybody. It's happening all over the country. And let me do this. This is in New Jersey. It's even more alarming. A Black woman is 7 times as likely to die from pregnancy-related causes as a white woman. The problem has become so dire that in January, the state introduced a strategic plan to eliminate racial inequalities and lower the rate of maternal mortality by 50% in the next 5 years. Governor Phil Murphy, I guess of New Jersey, has proposed a budget that will pay for many of the planned recommendations. So let me put you up here, brother. Thank you, Martin, for that. I appreciate you. Thank you for Event Martin 125. Thank you once again for the super chat. A-Man is right, Jill Chocolate Boutique. We got Patty's Kitchen and Patty's Kitchen, Garden, and More, who says, information man, we have to accept the facts. Yeah, we do have to accept the facts. We do, but we got to do something to change it too if we can. Black families read medical medical apartheid. The dark history of medicine experimentation on Black Americans from colonial times to now. Yeah, read that. I think the sister who wrote the book, I think her last name is Washington. I can't think of her first name, but if you put that in a simple Google search, you go on Amazon, you will find, I think she has a paperback book. It's Medical Apartheid. That's a deep book. Tiffany Jackson says, tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
I'm doing my best to tell the truth. Let me sit up here and put this lovely sister up here. Once again, birthing centers. Yeah. What are your thoughts about the birthing centers? That's something that Black women during the pandemic and even after the pandemic, that Black women are saying, you know what? I don't want to mess with the hospital. Let's go to a birthing center. Let's get a midwife. Let's do something different, a different outlook, a different alternative like this. This is like this. Let me show you something else, y'all. This is some deep. This is the sister with the locks standing up. She's the midwife. But let me show y'all something. This is from an article. Let me go into this right now. So check this out. This is let me move this up here. I just don't want to die. Black pregnant women are turning to midwives for personalized care and a better chance at survival. This is an article, y'all. And this is the brother right here. I showed his picture. He's got his baby in hand. Home from the hospital. Thompson Jones, her husband, Casey Jones, and their newborn baby. Thompson met with the midwife, Ebony Simpson, in their Virginia apartment. Thompson Jones told Simpson how unhappy she was with the hospital care she received. So here's the sister right here to the right. And I showed that picture. She's taking down notes. His wife, who's in the yellow, is telling her how she is very unhappy about the care that she got. In the hospital. She's very unhappy with the care. With maternal death highest amongst black women, some are shunning traditional care during their pregnancies. Okay? The midwife, Victoria Buckner, hears a common refrain from pregnant black women in her care. Oh, I just don't want to die, Buckner said. They tell her, I just want to come out of here alive. There's a lot of black people when they go to the hospital for serious surgeries and stuff or situations wish that they could come out of there alive. There's some of us who go in there and don't come out alive. When I'm talking about when you have serious medical procedures. Buckner said they tell her, I just want to come out of here alive. I want to have a healthy baby. I want to be next to my baby. Buckner, 28, believes that she and the team of midwife specialists in Hampton, Virginia, can keep new mothers and their babies healthy. In a bleak statistic linked to black pregnancy, research shows that black women in the United States are 3 times more likely to suffer a pregnancy-related death than white women. In Virginia, black women in recent years, here's another state, have been more than twice as likely as other mothers to have a death as it relates to their childbirth or having a child. So what's happening is that black women are some black women are either not making it through their childbirth alive, and then in some cases the babies may not be making it alive, and in some cases the babies may not be getting the best care, and then malpractice is in order and the child does not come home alive. Statistically, as it relates to the importance of having black doctors. And I told you before, black men, we've got a lot of health problems, black men. Women live longer than us because we don't take care of our health, men. Here's this picture right here. You see this man? A black man laying there. Black patients are 42% more likely to die after high-risk surgeries than white patients. So it's happening to us. It's happening to our women. It's happening to our children. The medical establishment has not been good to black people historically, and you all know I'm telling the truth. I want to show y'all a video which will put a crescendo on our program today. I have a lot of respect for this brother's channel. It's called The African Elements with Professor Darius. Do you know about this brother? Check out his YouTube channel because Brother Darius, he really tells the truth about things. He's one of those channels where he talks about history and he breaks through all the BS. This is the African Elements with Professor Darius. See, this is the thing. We have a lot of people who get up here and they talk about stuff and they have no credentials behind what they're talking about. They're not a professor. They don't. And even if you're not a professor or a teacher, even if you're not any of those things, you should at least do your research and reference people or studies or researchers or doctors that are telling you what's going on, as I've done in this video. Well, let me get to Brother Professor Darius. Because like I said, this country has had a history of experimenting on black people and particularly black women, which is how the medical establishment got its bones in the first place, or got itself established in the first place. So with that said, this is called fair use. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyright motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for the purpose of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which does not infringe the copyright under 17 USC 107. So with that said, let's hear from Professor Darius of the African Elements channel. Check him out.
Often bearing the brunt of both physical and sexual exploitation, many enslaved black women endured forced medical procedures against their will. Enslaved women were not asked if they would agree to such an operation, as they were totally without any claims to decision-making about their bodies.
Did you hear what he just said? Black women were forced to endure inappropriate sexual Let's go ahead.
Asked if they would agree to such an operation, as they were totally without any claims to decision-making about their bodies or any other aspect of their lives. Enslavers not only forcefully subjected enslaved black women to endure painful medical procedures, but their lack of bodily autonomy in some cases subjected them to sexual exploitation.
Once again, expose them to sexual exploitation. Remember the, what was that? There was a black woman, I think she was from Africa, and she had, you know, a very voluptuous backside. And I think something happened. I think she passed away. And then what they did is they took her body parts and they embalmed it. And they traveled it all around Europe. And white people in Europe were looking at, going into museums and looking at the body parts of this black woman. And particularly the body part that they were the most intrigued by was the behind, the dairy behind part of it. Let's get back to what the professor is saying here. And here we go.
John Peter Matauer performed one of the country's first successful vesicovaginal fistula operations in 1840. Often a result of complications after vaginal or bladder surgery, a vesicovaginal fistula is an opening that forms between the bladder and the wall of the vagina. Matauer developed his method after performing
You see the caveman, you see the picture of the caveman up there? He did experimental surgery on a 22-year-old. And remember, I told you that they would often engage in sterilizing young black women. It didn't matter. This is sick stuff.
Experimental surgeries on a 20-year-old bondwoman to repair her fistula. After repeated failures, Matauer went so far as to blame the enslaved woman's sexual activity for the persistence of her condition.
I want to say this. The professor made an interesting point there. So when they would do these experiments on black women, then they would turn around and say, oh, it didn't work out because of your sexual behavior. This is something historically that society does to Black people. They see us as sexual, oversexed individuals. I'm not talking about the mega stallions, the Cardi B's, the entertainers. I'm not talking about the low-hanging fruit and low vibrational women like them. I'm talking about how they contribute to the stereotypes about how the medical establishment treats women. But you see, even back in those days of slavery, they tried to blame Black women, even in slavery, that you must be the way you are because of your sexual behavior. That's a stereotype. They do the same thing to our people today in the 21st century. I told you earlier in this broadcast, there was a Black woman who died. I talked about her. You all should be familiar with this, she got on camera on her Facebook and said, they're killing me in here. I'm a physician. I'm asking for more pain meds. I know what's wrong with me because I'm a physician. And she ended up dying as a result of their mild medical practice. Because they either see Black people and Black men and Black women as we have a high threshold for pain, or when we have something going on in our privates, it's because we're oversexed individuals. See, that type of thinking that they had in those days is the same type of thinking that goes on today, because unfortunately we are stereotyped by the low-hanging fruit of the Sambos and Gumbos, who many people on the YouTube streets will judge the Black community by the lens of Sambos and Gumbos who do not represent Black culture. So these rappers, these drill rappers, these ratchet music that you see coming out of certain Black people, that don't represent Black culture. That's Sambo and Gumbo culture. You see, they did that to Black women and Black people during slavery, but then turned around and had Black women breastfeed their children. Let me let you see this picture. This is historical. Look at this. This is to the left is a real Black woman slave. She was a Black woman who was a slave. She's got a white baby in her hand. You remember, where do you think the word mammy came from? Remember the movie Gone with the Wind? They would have the Black mammy, as they called them, taking care of the white baby, and in some cases, breastfeeding the baby. Look at it. Look at that other picture on the right side. So while they would call Black people, this is the psychological weirdness of American society. While they would call Black women animals, while they would try to make them just nothing but sexual objects to be used, while they would call Black people in general animals, monkeys, say that we had no intelligence, say that we have a small brain. On the flip side of that, they would actually allow Black women to breastfeed their children when Black women were made to take care of these plantation households. This is very difficult to talk about. But there's a psychological component to this. You see what I'm saying? So what it shows you is that back in those days, they would do whatever it could to make sure that their children were nurtured and taken care of by Black slave women. In today's 21st century, they're making sure that their babies survive and are healthy and well cared for. And they may not give a damn about our babies. Black newborns more likely to die when looked after by white doctors. This was a very difficult stream to do today. Very difficult topic, which is why I know that's why a lot of people didn't come over. They didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to hear the truth.
Tell the truth.
It's difficult to hear the truth. It's difficult to digest what I've been talking about today. It's depressing. It's not something that you want to hear. But we have to stop escaping from reality, because these are realities that we must deal with. And we cannot begin to have conversations about relationships between black men and black women and talk about how we want to build black family if we can't even recognize that our women who are trying to give birth to our children have been malpracticed upon or can be malpracticed upon by the medical establishment of this country. And black women, this is why you should not have children by yourself. This is why you need a strong black man at your side to support you, to be able to say to the doctor, you ain't gonna do this. You notice how doctors today, they don't even want to give birth to they don't want to deliver your child the old fashioned way. They're quick to want to do what? Start cutting on your woman to get the child out, because they're concerned that if they do it the old fashioned way, they don't want to get sued. The C-section, as they call it. They're quick to try to cut first to get the baby out. So that's why when women are pregnant, it's important to have a man who's there every step of the way. It's important for you as a man to be there every step of the way to examine and watch what the medical establishment is trying to do to you and your child, unborn or born. Whether the child's in the womb, what are they doing to your woman, to your wife? What kind of injections are they giving her? Does she need the injections that they're trying to give her? How much pain is she going through that was executed not because of the natural pain of the child, but the pain that the establishment is conflicting upon your significant other? Something to think about, everybody. I appreciate everybody in the chat room. Jonathan Kidd, thank you for being here. MZ, Kim, Bling and Bar and more. Jill's Chocolate Boutique. Lisa says what? I thought I modded you up, Lisa. I don't know why you unmodded. I'll have to fix that. I'll have to fix that problem. I'm gonna have to. Let me see if I can see you in here, and I can probably mod you up. Maybe if I don't, next time I see you in the chat room and I can mod you up, I will. But I appreciate you coming over. I got to get ready to end the broadcast. Thank you, Tiffany Jackson. The Faith Factor says people don't know how to read and interpret. I'm actually glad that you said that. I'm glad you said that. I think people need to understand how to read stats and understand. But this is the most important thing, though, Faith Factor. You got to, when it comes to looking at people, we have to look at the whole picture, right? We have to look at the whole picture. So that's why I said earlier in the broadcast, when we talk about, well, black women are having having abortions because that's what people will run with. You can say that, but you have to understand what are the other ramifications that's causing that. I think it's easy to say, well, it's just because black women don't want black babies, right? Well, there are black women who have these things that are happening that's causing them to abort their babies. We have to examine what are those ramifications, what are those factors, right? When black women are not getting through childbirth, what are the cause and effect? What is the cause that established her to have the struggle through that pregnancy within this system? Why is it that black women are having these problems within the medical system more than any other? Why are black babies, when born and cared for by white practitioners, when they're born and have a harsh birth, why is it that they're not able to make it through versus the black doctor, whether it be male or black female doctor, seem to be able to save that child. These are things to think about. But I thank you all. I'm going to get ready to get out of here. And you all take care of yourself. It's been great. It's been a difficult show to do because it's not a popular show to do. But you know what? It had to be done. Y'all take care. Peace. Peace. Y'all take care.
Thank you for watching the program today.
leg, I'm racing the clock. Look at them flock, watching them flop. Used to see this in my sleep. When I ain't had shit but my thoughts in the car, I really was lost. Now I'm public with the soundscapes. Niggas flossing, really pulling strings for the pound cake. I see you wait for a puppet in the clown face for a little bit.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.